What up, YouTube? Okay. Man, I wasn't even prepared. I'm about to play Minecraft. Now, I remember when this thing was in beta, and let's see, started, yeah, it was in beta in like 2009, 10, something like that. 11? I don't even remember. I just remember that it was at my my best buddy Matt's house, and his older brother and our mutual friend Ren loaded that shit up, and they just kind of had at it like it was just a creative space. It was like a modern day Mario Paint. Remember Mario Paint? It's good shit. Oh! All right, what was I gonna do? There's a lot of shit going on in the background. Kind of want to get rid of some stuff. I want this out of the way for sure. I gotta. Oh my god! Calm down. Get chat up and running. Minecraft. Minecraft is here. Alright, let's I gotta share this with a couple people. Yeah. Da 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 la la di da da. Why does it have the SPB3 thing in the background on my Minecraft stream? The hell is going on? No, I don't want to hear myself. Stop it. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. My God. I use my iPhone like an old man. This is unbelievable. Did I say iPhone? Oh my God. Did I say iPhone? Don't say that. It's rude. Playing Minecraft for the first time! Exclamation point. Alright, let's hop on this shit. Hey! Hey! Hey, play you. Whoa, why does it say 4 hours? I have not been streaming for 4 hours. Thank you. That has not been happening. Alright, should we play Minecraft? I guess we should play Minecraft. I'm not going to do the lightsaber thing today, because, I don't know, the light was bothering me. Okay. Alright, y'all. I have a map created here. I literally just jumped in and, put the shaders and all the, like, mods that I want on there. Throughout this process of creating... I guess I should do a backup next time. This is a world that I have created and built and written since I was in high school. And it is a part of a story called Armor of the Gods. And it is about... Oh man, I just am... I love controllers, so doing PC is interesting and different for me. Oh, also this is really bright. Can I turn that shit down, please? And let's close some shit out, because I don't want all this stuff open. Using up too much RAM. Oh, stop it. Bum, 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 bum. Since this is my first time playing Minecraft, I'm sure that the frame rate isn't wonderful, but I'm just learning this shit. But anyways, this is the story of the Armor of the Gods, which is this is the place that they live. They we don't really know that they live above the planet of Arian until a little bit later in the film. So spoiler, whoops. Um, anyways, it's a very kind of flat and smooth, kind of pleasant looking white place. So I gotta create like a big, like just a huge plane of 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 um of white, and it's also layered in like gold. Now, when I created this story, I was in high school, and I was I was a Mormon. I was a Mormon. Yeah, basically part of a cult. Whoops. It's what happens when you're born in it. So, but yeah, I that happened, and unfortunately, but also ironically, um, a lot of my designs are based off of kind of my spirituality growing up. But what it's become, and that's the cool thing about man, I don't know how far I can go. Can I go forever? Huh, huh, ah, ah. The cool thing is that, things change, perspectives, and just life in general, and inspirations. And so, even though this place has a bit of a kind of rudimentary heavenly look to it, it's a very violent and imperfect place. And those are the most interesting, creative, you know, tones and concepts. Imperfect characters, anti-heroes. And this place is where the gods, and I never use the word gods because I just find that it's so cliche. I call them the Endless, and no, fuck Halo, where they were like, gonna do a Halo 7 and they were gonna have a species called the Endless. No, 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 no. I came up with this shit when I was in high school. So, can I go this way and create? Or do I have to? This will be fun. Maybe I'll just do a giant square. Oh my god. I put a mod on here that makes it so that there's like no limits to at least upwards. I didn't think about sidewards. Also, can I make a mod where it doesn't become nighttime? Or that it rains all the time? See, the Endless decided that they had achieved perfection. Yeah, that's the thing, is that think about God, but he's not perfect. We kind of take away that kind of OP aspect of him. In this, there are multiple gods. That's something that was kind of taken from the Mormon religion, because they believe in multiple gods, as in that we all can become God. Oh my god. So, oh my god. Zzz. But basically, let's just assume that we all can become gods. All right, let's just assume it's fantasy. Okay, it's like a young adult book series. Um, we all have different personalities and we all have different imperfections. We've all done shit we regret. We've all accomplished great things of different magnitudes. And so if we look at these gods, the endless, in this world I've created, they, whew, man, I get distracted. ADHD. They were once just kind of beings, people, and I haven't fully. I don't have a ton of lore as to where they came from, who they were. Were they born as endless? Were they born as a different race? I don't know, but they've gotten to this place in time and have built this like just absolute, just like epic, majestic, massive scope. This is basically a white palace that spreads for eternity. And, they were just kind of getting bored waiting till they had achieved perfection, till they had become gods. And it got to a point where it was like, well, why don't we just decide that we're perfect and that we're gods? Who are we waiting for? And there is someone that they do need to wait for. There's actually, you discover later that there are other god-like beings that are above them. You do discover that above the endless is the Sullust 7. Basically, perfect gods or godlike individuals, at least as compared to the endless. They basically withstood their time before finally figuring out that they they had achieved perfection. But the Sullust 7 are very, very sad. They're very sad. Perfection is not what it's chalked up to be. They have one purpose, and one purpose only, and that is to watch over the endless. And they didn't do a wonderful job. I'm not. I don't have any information on that. It's not like I created this world. But, the endless were kind of left to their own. Oh my god, I got pretty damn close to, like, getting that perfectly. Did I really do that? No way. I did not perfectly. No, I didn't. There's no way. There's no way. There's absolutely no way that I just perfectly, unintentionally. Oh, see, I told you I didn't. I was like, what? I like connected it perfectly. That's pretty damn close, though. Check that shit out. I mean, that's close. This is really close. I'm still impressed with myself. Anyways, so you have the Sullust 7. And then you have the Sire. The Sire is the most powerful being in my universe. The Sire is who guards the god. Now, me and my siblings had kind of this running thing where with when we play games, we always had the same username, and that was Master. And I just want to be clear, Master was referring to Jedi Masters, or how sometimes people called God Master. Um, Unfortunately, now I thought about it and I was like, yeah, it's maybe it hasn't aged super well. I don't know. All zero of you in the chat can tell me if that's legit a concern. But supposedly, the sire, if the sire is not in fact the highest being, he is guarding the master, who is, or whatever it is, created everything. But the endless are interesting because they're on the cusp, supposedly, or maybe not even close, but they're they're on their way to becoming a Sullus, like the Sullus 7. Basically just miserable and bored. And that is representative, honestly, of how I always felt about the idea of heaven or paradise or whatever the hell they try to teach in Christianity. Like, they describe, heaven as like being this green prairie with like lots of beautiful sunlight and everyone's just so fucking happy and having picnics. And I'm like, well, I mean, I like the sun, but I'd rather it be like raining, you know? And I kind of like that gray, like, look to things. Like, I don't know. That kind of sadness. I don't know. I just feel comfortable with that. It's kind of like being in the same world as Twilight. Yeah, I used the Twilight reference. You want to fight about it? But yeah, that kind of grayish tone. How I don't want it to be nighttime. Can we change this? I'm gonna have to figure out like a mod or something to like make it not night. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything. I don't know anything. Literally don't know anything. All I can say is, y'all, in accordance with my interpretation of what heaven should be, and the kind of boxed in one size fits all mentality of Christianity, in my world, it is not nighttime ever, at least here in this, um, where the endless are. So we will be changing that. It'll be day all the time, hopefully. Um, so yeah, anyways, I don't want to spend the rest of eternity in a sunny grass prairie, I don't want to do that. So yeah, it become a solace. You end up just, in a place that is just boring. Just imagine eternity in the same fucking place. See, my idea of heaven, I already tell you, I've got it in my head, like just a perfect visual. I am in the Millennium Falcon, departing Mos Eisley, and I am let's start to get a look at this. Yeah. Mos Eisley departing, and I am hanging on from the basically the landing platform, like hanging on and looking down as the ship is kind of tilting, looking down on Mos Eisley, just being super like on the edge, epic, and I'm invincible, so I don't have anything to fear. I can stand on that edge. Right before the landing gear closes up, and we go wherever the hell we want. I would go directly to, oh my god, Probably Coruscant or Camino. I don't know. I love those two planets so much. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I do. That's my heaven. Other people have different interpretations of what their heaven is, and that is fine. Woo! Okay. So, the Endless, they get a little impatient. Um, because as soon as Rasmus, one of the Endless, finally discovers how to create, Rasmus is a good guy. And he is very afraid of what this power could do to the Endless. I mean, it is unprecedented. It could be the sign of being done with finding imperfection and actually finding perfection, or it could be a sign of the end of the Endless, which, seems a little counterintuitive. Counterproductive as an Endless to end. But anywho, y'all, I'm sure you're watching this and you're like, Damien, there's a much easier way to do this. And I don't know what that would be. So here we are. Wow, look, you got like curvature going on. Like you got a fucking like horizon going on. Might be good enough, But anyways, Rasmus hides it. The ability to create. But not too long after, it does in fact come to light that this is a thing. Very trusted colleague of Rasmus decides to tell the council. But he's still friends with Rasmus, so he comes up with a good excuse. He comes up with a way to still protect Rasmus, and that way he can eat his cake too. He's like, I don't want to screw over my friend or make him seem like a traitor or anything, but also this is a pretty big deal, and it's time. I'm bored of being an Endless. This has just been endless boredom, and I'm just done. And so then, he tells the council Rasmus, is brought forward. He looks at his friend like, yeah. And, yeah, they inquire about this situation. Ship. Nope, I want to go up. And, yeah. They're, oh, boogers! ADHD, man. Oh, wrong shift. So yeah, Rasmus is like, yeah, I did find the, I can create beings. Like, intelligent life. And of course the council like jumps on that shit like, my god, it doesn't have to be endless boredom anymore. We can hop in this shit and get shit done. And Rasmus doesn't want to speak out because he knows things about the endless. He knows his own people very, very well, and can see them losing their shit. Because, I mean, only he has the key to it, And so he's afraid, and he's like, maybe you're right. Let's do this. And so, after a lot of deliberation, for a long period of time, they decided to make 2 races. The Born and the Fate. Now, a lot of this stuff is going to sound kind of silly because remember, I was in high school when I created it. And that's cool. That's fine. Uh, yeah. So, Born in the Fate. The Born would basically create life, and scientifically speaking, you plant a seed, and then it grows and it pollinates, and life finds a way. And the Born are basically like the seeds of this new planet that they're going to create called Arian. And so the Born is a beautiful race. They look very much like humans. Interestingly, the women are very, very small. Honestly, there are like kind of general figure, height, whatever you want to call it. And then the Bornum, which is the men, are enormous. But the men don't have the ability to create life. They just have the ability to protect life. There are certain parameters that allow them to create, but in a nutshell, the Born, which are the women, are the ones that create. You also find out later that they're basically mages, and they are far more powerful than the Bornum. The Bornum are just like basically brutes. The Bornum also are like, they're huge. They're like really muscular, at least like 12 or 13 feet tall, and they tend to have like kind of a more like gray skin to them. So they all look very, very similar, and they all have tattoos on their body. They usually only wear like a loincloth, if not nothing, honestly. My thought is that they're just fucking naked all the time. Go commando, bro. Yeah, so they have these tattoos on them that are they look like vines and plant life that glow when they're in the presence of like, let's say that they're in a barren area and they're trying to they're trying to find places to plant life or crops, or all that fun nature shit. Whoa, fight. Anyways, oh, good night, Mavis. Sleep well. Hope you feel better. Thank you for lurking. That's what I need, y'all. I need more lurkers. Anywho. So yeah, anyways, the tattoos on the Bornum will glow blue. It's a beautiful blue. The Born, if you want to get kind of a tone for how they are or what they just kind of like the vibe, honestly, and you're gonna laugh. But just keep in mind, I was like an Enya kid growing up. I loved Enya. But yeah, that's it. The whole race is basically Enya. If Enya was a person, then it would be, the women resemble Enya quite a bit. Black Enya women, white Enya women, I mean, they just all like very much have that kind of vibe, And then and the Bornum, although they have very, very gray skin for the most part, it comes lights and darks, things like that, but they also have kind of like a blue hue to them. I mean, the whole atmosphere of the Born race has a very blue hue to it. Um, but anyways, I should talk about the second race, which is the Fate. So the Endless created the Born to help grow this first planet they'd be creating, and yeah, and they built Arian. Now, the Endless didn't want to create beings that could live forever like them. They wanted that to be exclusive to them. They wanted that was that kind of that power complex of, you know, so many people that I hate in this world. Um, Fuck, man, I'm dealing with some. Yeah, I don't even want to get into it. Uh, but yeah, the Born, or sorry, the Fate, um, are like the Grim Reapers of the planet. They're basically like the exact opposite. They're kind of scary, but they're not evil. They're not bad. Um, their existence is a little bit like sad and tragic, but in a more romantic sense. Like, they represent death, and death is beautiful. Let's be real, okay? Everyone thinks of death as being this. If you're atheist, then you're going to think of it as beautiful because of this unceremonious conclusivity of it. And then if you are one that believes in an afterlife, like myself, I'm not saying I'm Christian, I don't know what I am, but I was gonna say, yeah, it's a little bit more ceremonious, and there's a bit of mystery and ambiguity to it. Well, in this case, in my story, we know what. Well, we know what happens, kind of. We don't know much about the Endless. We assume that they used to be beings of some kind, and now here they are, and they believe that they have achieved perfection. The Fates also resemble humans, people, but interestingly, they have a very Assassin's Creed like, um, what's his name, Ezio type like feel to them, but they're dressed in all black. They don't show their faces. They're very mysterious and conniving. They don't have relationships. They're very alone, and they know what they need to do, and they just do it. They just execute it. Not out of obligation, but just that's who they are. That's what they do. There isn't anything other than that. They are living at the end constantly. So, just kind of, you know, Dunedain, Aragorn Rangery type feel to it. And they do, in fact, they this is cool. They're basically assassins for the Endless. So if something goes awry and the Endless need something to end, they have the Fate do it, and that's just what the Fate have always known. That's who they are. That's what they do. You know. Is there a way to save this, or is it just gonna save for me? I don't know what's going on. Oh yeah, Justin. Let's see. Will do, my friend. Yeah, my buddy Justin and I have been doing VFX on a John Wick-esque film that takes place in the 19th century. We've been doing VFX for that for a long while, and we just recently finished, and he wants me to send some pics of it, or of things. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, he wants to show to some colleagues. We've been working our ass on that. This ass off on that. Story is a shit ton. I'm sure is gonna change. I'm telling you a story from when I was a kid, basically. Does Minecraft automatically save your map in creation? Help me find investors? Yes, it might. For sure, bro! Exclamation point. I'll get on that either tonight or sometime tomorrow. Thanks for spreading the word! Exclamation point. Justin is the best. He's just so invested in what we're doing. And it's great, man. Creation is great. That's why getting into Minecraft for the first time, this is just awesome. I'm basically building my world. Now, could I do that in Blender or in like Maya? Yeah, but that's boring as fuck. Let's do it fun. Like video games, y'all. This is my passion. Making films is my passion. So let's do both at the same time. Anyways, so the Fate are basically the assassins for the Endless, and the Born are basically the creators for the Endless, or they came up with a way for them to basically do none of the work. Here's the problem, though. There are a lot of Endless, and not everyone agrees with the way that things are handled. I mean, theoretically, this power belongs to all of them. And this is where the war on creation started. And this is reminiscent a lot of the war between Lucifer and Jehovah in the Bible. And yeah, I've always wanted to do a movie that kind of portrays Lucifer as the good guy, and he just got, completely, I don't know, misrepresented, and basically was made into a vagabond on the earth, and yeah, he was just kind of screwed over. But anywho, that's basically what I do here. So this is what Rasmus was worried about. This power should, honestly, it shouldn't have even been used yet. This is a power that he kind of wishes he hadn't discovered, because it's like, damn, this is cool, but it's like AI. It's like, damn, this is cool, but this is going to cause a lot more problems than anything. And yeah, there's an argument to be made that this is a power that shouldn't belong to the haughty, and that's kind of what we were looking at, is that the council for the Endless were haughty. They were prideful. I mean, it's the whole reason why they were like, "Oh my God, we can create. Let's do shit with this." You know, that was perfect. I guess it makes sense that I was going to run into that. So, not that impressive, but whatever, whatever. But yeah, so um, the power of creation, which really isn't that difficult. You know, the Endless. I forgot to describe the Endless, what they look like. Um, as I build this world, you're going to realize and understand what they look like and what they're like. Um, the Endless are supposed to represent white privilege, and so they are in fact all white. There are they also have kind of a blue hue to them, like the Born do, and there are like darker skin shaded Endless, but like with any awful society, they are not treated as well as the white ones. Sound familiar? Yeah. So the council is basically, they are the most privileged. They're haughty, and yeah, they, you know, it's like in Andor. All right, when Luthen Rael says that their arrogance is remarkable, isn't it? They don't even think about us, as referring to the Empire. Um, you know, uh, and so, my God, sorry if y'all have seizures or get seizures. Probably don't look at this, but yeah, they get a little careless. Basically, Rasmus's friend, who he had made amends with, he's like, "All right, well, you told the council, like, it's cool, but you know, kind of look at what's happening now." And you know, his friend is like, "You know, I think it'll be fine, honestly." And then his friend up and decided, you know what, this does belong to the people, this power. And so he steals the formula and the abilities of creation from Rasmus, his best friend, and he brings it to his other, you know, comrades, and is like, "Hey, check this shit out." And his other comrades, they're like, "Oh, it's like Minecraft. I can just create races, or like create beings." And so, and uh, yeah. Anyways, um, so you know, depending on the person or the Endless, you know, they were like, "I want to create this. I want to create that." And so, certain races, such as elves, were born. Ha, born. And dwarves, you know? And I'll talk about man or humans in a little bit. That's an interesting one. It's really cool to revisit this story. What the hell? Come on. Come on. What the hell? Can I not go over there? What did I do? Oh, did I build a block on top of myself? What did I do? That was weird. That was horrifying. Alright. So we're getting there. Wee! 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 Um... So yeah. So basically, what am I getting at? What am I doing? All right. So then different races were born. Yeah, and some endless were imperfect and kind of fucked up. So they made like goblins and orcs. You know, some of them made monsters. Some of them made golems and made Atronoxes and elementals and lizard people and you know uh, yeah, yeah. uh, and so it kind of went a little cattywampus, and basically the council had to uh, form a unit or an army that would collect these creatures, kill them even, um, and some of them were imprisoned, others were killed, most for the most part killed, and you know, unfortunately, the endless and sort of instead of being like, oh shit, we really kind of our hubris kind of screwed us because now the secret's out. All these fools can create whatever the hell they want, and it's like summoning or conjuration, but chaotic and irresponsible. And so they need someone to blame. They don't know that Rasmus's best friend is the one that let the cat out of the bag. Now that cats are a thing, and his friend doesn't. His friend fesses up to Rasmus, and Rasmus is just such a fucking patient guy. And he's like, I I wish I had never come up with this, and I should never have um, I should have fought against the council. And his best friend is kind of young and naive, so he's just too nice, And yeah, so the council, because they had to find someone to blame, they decided to blame Rasmus. They're like, this is out of control. This should never have been a thing. Rasmus, you have created an abomination, and now look where we're at. And Rasmus in his head is like, what the fuck, bro? Like, how is this my fault? Y'all are the ones that decided to go, all fuck buffet on this shit. Well, why is it my fault? I never would have done this. I wish I never found this power, this creation. We're not perfect. We're not there yet. We were not ready for this. So yeah, the war on creation started civil wars. There's the group that created the elves and different sects of elves. There's the groups that created dwarves and different sects of dwarves, and there's just all these different groups that are trying. They're not okay. The Civil War hasn't really started yet. They're just trying to protect their creations, but the council decides, instead of just passing the buck and that's it, they're like, okay, we need to decide on one race, which is smart. No, not smart. Um, Basically, they start a civil war and then they blame it on Rasmus, saying that it was his idea for there to be, a single race, and basically he wants to kill everyone's creations, and so everyone's killing each other, saying, "Oh, I want mine to be the single race. I want mine to be it. I want mine to be it." Fuck Rasmus. He put us in this position, and now we're all screwed. And so, yeah, civil war breaks out, and Rasmus needs protection, and he has some good folks that are like, yeah, dude, listen, this is pretty fucked up. You don't deserve to be treated this way. And yeah, eventually there is a council held, and to really figure this out, Rasmus is like, look, okay, there's a lot better way to do this. Let's just let's just all sit down and come up with something, because come on, you know. And so they hold a council, and the argument is made by Erasmus in a beautiful fashion that we should not have done this in the first place. So he's like, I am going to destroy this power. It's something that, we eventually will gain again. We just can't be trusted with this power. And the people in general are in agreement. They want to go back to the way things were. The council isn't so... The council is just like, all right, well, that's what our people want. But in the back of their heads are like, no, fuck these people. We're going to create the perfect race. And they're just going to have to deal with it. But we're going to have to kill Rasmus first. And so they plan to kill him and assassinate him. And he knows this. And his best friend confirms this, because his best friend was working very closely with the council. And Rasmus is like, all right, so what do I do? And, his best friend's like, go down to the planet, and hide, and I'll figure it out from there. Well, Rasmus has a different plan in mind. On the night... Oh, I guess there is night. I say night because if you go down below this land, the land of the endless that I'm creating, which is just so fitting considering that I've been doing the same thing for I don't even know how long. But when you go down beneath the ground, that's where they are keeping the creations. They're keeping them in the dark. And darkness has never existed in Endless, so it's just a kind of a gloomy place. Well, when I say that night, I mean that Rasmus decides he's going to go into the darkness under, the land, and he is going to release all of the creations. Because he realizes he has a choice. He can either... Oh my god, this is going to sound so Jurassic World. Fucking... What was that stupid one? The second one? What is it called? It's so dumb. What a dumb movie. But this is way cooler. But he's like, these are living creatures. They are. They are living creatures. Like, they have personalities, and they're not animals. I mean, a lot of them are, like, intelligent, like, beings. And the council is, like... going to destroy them. And Rasmus kind of put that change into effect, and he's like, I hate that I came across this ability to create. I hate that it got out. Not my fault, because, well, it is his fault. He was convinced by his stupid best friend, who's a young little twat. He's a queefer. To let the cat out of the bag. And he's like, I gotta take responsibility for this. This is my fault. And so he decides to release all of the creations. And lead them to the entrance to Aryan. I probably should have been a little bit more clear. Aryan is only at this point inhabited by the Born and by the Fate, um, because they were in charge of basically setting up the planet. And originally it was just going to be the Born and the Fates, but as creation started being made in the land of the Endless, the council's like, no, we got something kind of good going down on the planet. We're not going to put this shit down there. Yeah, and so Rasmus is like, you know what? I'm just going to own it. We need to own it. We really should. Um, and he knew that the council was not going to listen to him any further. They basically lost faith in him. He knew that they were going to try and off him and kill him. And so, yeah. Anyways, the same night, the council goes after him. And basically, there are a lot of species and races that were killed on the way to running to Aryan. You find out that Aryan is beneath the land of the Endless. You always thought it was just kind of like out there somewhere. But no, it is beneath it. So Aryan, I'm going to build down there. So that's why it's all the way up here. Not just because it's supposed to be heaven, but because it's supposed to be above Aryan. So yeah, it's interesting because there are a lot of species, races, animals, monsters, peoples that were one of a kind. Even some of them banded together to save the other races, animals, beings from being slaughtered. And they were like, go, 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 get down to the planet and live for generations. It's really sad. Really sad, as the Endless Army is, chasing after Rasmus leading all these folks. And so Rasmus eventually, the entrance to the planet, or the kind of way of getting down, it's kind of cool. Basically, the bottom of the land of the Endless kind of opens up in this giant, circular platform. And, woo! Oops. I almost hit Control Z. Does that even work? That'd be kind of cool if it did. But, yeah, these big, round platforms. And when I say big, I mean that they're like miles across. And they are, and basically when one lowers, then another one swivels out. And then another one, and it finally brings you down to the planet. And you see just armies of beings, and the Endless, chasing after them. Just armies just running down to the planet. And one second. Whew. Man, this is going to take forever. So yeah, Rasmus and all of the creatures that we know of for sure, that we know, elves and dwarves, even orcs and goblins, all of the kind of rudimentary fantasy creatures, dragons, they make it down. to the planet, and they scatter and hide. And the armies, go after them, or the soldiers, but then the leader of the council, um, he's like, basically, he is the leader of the Endless, the richest one. He's like Bob Iger. Uh, he is like, wait, stop. We basically have them in a kill box. We bring the platforms up, they stay and rot. We're just going to leave this planet and let it die and suffer. Why? Because it's the perfect way to punish Rasmus. Rasmus is endless. He's going to live forever. The people that are on this, on this planet, they're not going to live forever. The fate have basically been pre-programmed to make sure that generations exist, and that we live, we grow, we die, and so what they do is, because they are like mages, they're like wizards. Um, all the races are kind of watching as Rasmus stands before the council, and he's defiant, and he's like, "I'm not going to let you kill these people and innocent creatures." And the leader of the council's like, "That's fine. I'm just gonna leave you here. But this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add insult to injury." He turns, and everybody sees this happen. That's pretty tragic. He turns Rasmus to stone, except for his eyes. And his eyes stay open. They cannot blink. Like, they're basically like cemented open. And that way, he is forced to watch his planet die. Yeah. I don't know if he, this happens on like a mountaintop or something. Maybe he has a battle with that council member, or like the council, and then they kind of get him to the top of like a mountain or something, and they're like, "Oh, this is the perfect spot. Let's, let him die. This would be cool." And then they kill him. I don't know, but that is basically what happens. And all the different races kind of go their own way. The Born are left to just no direction other than what they already know: grow the planet. Should they? Should they not? I don't know. And yeah, the Fate actually eventually go into hiding. They stop doing what they're doing, and so yeah, things just kind of live forever, but almost to a fault, because yeah. So basically, what happens? There's a lot of tension, and there's a lot of basically the status quo, or the system that was going to keep this planet alive and running and healthy, it was disrupted. And yeah, somehow, in some way, oh god, yeah. But keep in mind, I mean, this is a story that was being made by a child, so I don't know the answers completely. But basically, um, man was born accidentally as a result of everything not going to plan. Like, man was born. They're the only ones that were born outside of, the creation. Everybody was created by an endless, or at least their race was. And, those races flourished, and they, created countries and lands. And so, Yeah, somehow man exists and they are looked down upon. And that leads directly into the first of a trilogy. The first movie being called Born, the second film being called Bane, and then the third film being called Fate. And a lot of that trilogy explores the imperfections, but the courage and beauty of mankind, humanity. Well, that was pretty good. That's the story of the armor of the gods. Um, yeah, I forgot to describe their armor. It's very like gold colored. It's white and gold. It's very similar to the the Imperial Captain armor in Oblivion. It was like white with like gold lacing, with kind of the design or outfit of the the armor you're required to wear at the arena in the Imperial City in Oblivion, and so it really is like, your chest is like covered, arms are exposed. You have kind of like sort of armor on your legs, but it's more of like almost like a dress situation, not a dress, like a skirt kind of situation. Legs are pretty much exposed. Sandals, golden sandals. I didn't describe these folks. Some of them have a white like cape, but they all have a what is it called? A circlet, or what are those things called? The elves have them in Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? Kind of cool. Gold, but they oftentimes have red jewels or a red jewel somewhere on their armor that matches their eyes, because the Endless have bright red eyes, pure white skin, unless they were one of the ones that were a different color, which were kind of more of like a really really uh, beautiful blue, like whitish blue. But uh, they all have red, bright red eyes. It's kind of creepy looking. And they also have very very white or golden or kind of like a bluish gray hair. Um, but Where was I getting with that? Oh yeah, the title of that film. If it wasn't a trilogy, it'd be just one film called The Armor of the Gods, which is the story that I just told you, the War on Creation. And next time, maybe I'll get into more of the lore of the Endless. Um, Otherwise, I will tell you all the story of Born. And there's a lot of movies. There's there's that trilogy I told you about, Born, Bane, Fate, and then there's another trilogy called the Aryan trilogy, which is basically a post-apocalyptic. And the cool thing about this world is that it actually ages very similarly to the way our world ages. In that, um, you know, this isn't just a medieval land. This is a land that gains new technology and becomes very futuristic. Um, and Aryan is basically what that future looks like, and it's very cyberpunky. It's kind of cool. And then the next trilogy, which is called the Insurrection trilogy, is about space travel and leaving Aryan. Kind of cool. There are also little offshoot films such as Chain, which is uh, a group of humans that sacrifice themselves to take down. Um, shoot. Oh my God, what are they called? Oh, the Pride, which are fallen endless. Um, these humans found a way to kill basically immortal beings. It's kind of cool. They're called Chain. There's also Ops, which is a superhero movie about a being that gains superpowers and protects a city. So it's got a little bit of a superhero thing going on. And there's probably more. I don't know. But it's been cool to revisit this. I'll have to post the blog that I created when I was in high school because I wanted to make this short film that was completely in CG. And keep in mind, 2005, 2006, like doing something like that was unprecedented on a Dell. Like, yeah, I was trying to do something that was probably impossible. You know, I didn't ever finish it, but I do have a blog that kind of takes you through creating the some of the creatures and the people and uh, the buildings and architecture, um, some animations, and it's kind of cool. So, if anybody ends up watching this and is interested in that, then let me know and I will post it somewhere. But we're basically just going to make a giant white plane here, and then we're going to build some buildings on it. So, okay, doke. I am tired. Ugh. Stressful day tomorrow. Pray for me to whatever God you pray to.